This one is called A New Dawn. Seems to be about mobsters. This is the cool type of music that I like. I sure hope it's not copyright. I'm sure it is. With my luck. Grandfather Mako was a crybaby, but only when it came to the hogs. He was a joyous man who loved picking weeds out in the pasture, wildflowers, he could call them, with his strange, new working accent, always laughing at whatever joke my grandmother had told him. But the closer we would come to slaughter day, the more his mood would worsen. And on the day of, he would become inconsolable. One time I asked him why he was always sad during slaughter day, for certainly no one liked the chore, but as my grandmother would say, it had to be done. He told me, "My little flower, I hope that you never know this. Every year that passes, it leaves a stone on your heart. Over time, they keep piling up and up. Eventually, it becomes very hard to keep breathing." What a strange thing, I would think. Stones on your heart, and why only on slaughter day? No one liked doing it. My grandmother always reminded me that. But how else would we eat, make our living? The thought would stay with me over the years, never quite understanding the full intent. Until many years later, after my grandmother passed, after the strange new working man, who I called Grandfather Marco, stopped having a place to visit, when I happened upon a newborn hog in our flock. Oh, a baby! So cute. She was a runt. Most likely would not survive the night, and against my better judgment, I stepped in and nursed her back to health. She survived and then thrived. And I named her... Oh gosh, I can name... we will name her... I will name her after my wonderful cat, Lilith. Good job, me. Perfect. Lilith. Something changed. I couldn't bear to send her off on slaughter day. Look how cute she is. The others, sure, a necessary facet of our lives, but not Lilith. My mother did not approve. She said I was just like Grandmother Flora, sentimentality over practicality. It was a necessary act, but that's why we raised the hogs, to keep them after its prime slaughter years. That was a fool's act. This music needs to chill the fuck out. But to my mother, I was always the fool, the girl who had the girl who had visited her widowed grandmother, who had enjoyed the company of the man I called Grandfather Mako. Your grandmother is living in sin, Mama would have said. She did not approve. She did not approve of much. She did not approve of much that was not already here on the farm, in this town, especially not New Workin' City. City that hugged the horizon, where people went to chase their dreams and to never return. Growing up, you either escaped to that city or you stayed here, trapped in my mind. And at 26, I was firmly trapped here. As a firstborn daughter, okay, so I guess she's supposed to be more southern, and then New Working City is New York City. I did not have a full grasp of the entire plot because I try not to spoil things, so I only barely look at them. As a firstborn daughter, it had always been my duty to stay here on the farm, caring for my mother. Day in and day out, it felt like hell. And so my life went, as a foolish daughter of hog farmers with the memory of a crybaby grandfather who was not related to me. That is until a letter came in the mail. Or more specifically, it came in the mail and was promptly thrown away. I fished it out, having recognized the handwritten scrawl on this envelope. In it, it said, "To my dearest Flora and little light Fia, I write to amend for the mistakes I have done in my life. You are the greatest source of joy and happiness for me, and I am now at the end of my life and wish to care for you. Come to New Working, to the intersection of 4th and Central. There is something I wish to give you. If this letter does not reach you in time, find my assistant, Andino. Forever yours, Marco." My mother called me foolish. This was nothing new. She called me ungrateful, hateful, a disgrace. Those were. She gave me an ultimatum, leave or stay. Stay here on the farm, trapped, or leave, freedom, banishment. To me, there was no choice. I needed to leave. I was dying already. I bought a one-way ticket to new working. Oh, nice. 4th and Central was deep in the heart of the city. Walking along the impossibly tall buildings blocking out the sky, I could see why Grandfather Marco had called the weeds in the pasture wildflowers. There was no greenery to be had at all, only cement. And every street I passed, 7th and 6th and 5th, people were standing around, loitering. When I walked by, they would look up without fail. Some would point and ask, "What the hell is that?" Oh my gosh. That pig got large. They were referring to Lilith, of course. Getting her on the train had been a hassle, but well worth it. She had always been my pet, perhaps best friend, and with the reaction my mother had to me leaving, I wasn't sure if she would be spared the next butchering cycle. Oink. Aw. Aw, we're adorable. Yes, Lilith, we're almost there. I stop at where the street sign clearly reads, 4th and Central. It was here Grandfather Marco had wanted my grandmother and I to travel. I look around. It didn't look much different than the streets previous, except for a large, lush-looking mansion in the corner of the street. What I didn't see, however, was a smiling old man with deep creases around his eyes. If this letter does not reach you in time. I tightened my grip around my luggage handle. How long had that letter been sitting in the bin, unopened? We're too late, Lilith. A couple of men are glaring at me from across the street. I fidget. I mean, what are they looking at? Besides the giant hog, of course. Excuse me. I turn around, and a tall, striking man approaches me. My breath catches. Do you have business here? You seem... His eyes glance over to Lilith, showing no emotion. Lost. My grandfather wrote me a letter asking me to come here. He was ill. Grandfather? Yes. He shifts slightly, but shows no emotion. His eyes are a hard, cold, harsh blue-gray. There was something about them that reminded me of how Grandfather Marco would look right before returning to this city. When slaughtering day was approaching. What was your grandfather's name? I stand up straight. I want to put my best foot forward. Marco. Marco Vernoce? Vernoce? I don't know what that meant. All of a sudden, something in the air shifts and the men from across the street start making their way over to us. A few others pop their heads out of buildings along the way. Just how many people are eavesdropping on us? Did I say something wrong? We should discuss this inside. Lady Francesca will want to meet you. Lady? He held his hand out for my luggage, which I give over. He grabs it and almost drops it, giving me a somewhat surprised look. I guess I should have warned him about how heavy it was. Follow me. I've heard that this is another one that has a lot of possible bad endings that you can get into. The cold-looking man ushers me into the mansion and asks me to sit and wait for Lady Francesca to make her appearance. Again, lady. That was a strange title to give to someone. Leaves a bad feeling in my stomach. And again, the whole room is giving me bad feelings. Everything around me flashes with gold, and there are pristine carpets covering the entire room. If this was Grandfather Marco's home, why in the world would he ever have left? Now, what a surprise! An older-looking woman walks into the room wearing a fluffy coat. Whoever she is, she must be important. Half of us here were of the mind you didn't really exist, but here you are, looking... She looks over to Lilith, who is sniffing the carpet. Well, regardless, I'm Francesca. I'm sure my brother mentioned me. Brother? Marco? Oh, Grandfather Marco. No, he didn't mention much about his life. This is all... new. I look around at the room again, feeling not much more at ease than before. Nothing? She gives a pointed look at the tall man who escorted me here, who only shakes his head. Is there something he should have mentioned to me? Perhaps he didn't want to share this part of his life with you. Perhaps we were just a dirty little secret. See, our family is involved in a very particular business, not one many can pick up on a whim. So to hear that he hasn't prepared you for all your position... I'm sorry? Oh well, what exactly did he tell you, dear? My grandmother and I were to meet him at Central and 4th. There was something he wanted to give us, and if he wasn't there... My voice trails off, remembering if this letter reaches you in time. Judging by who was in the room, it was becoming steadily apparent that I had not made it in time. No, I'm afraid that Don is no longer with us. Don? And in his will... She takes a pointed look at me. He was to leave the whole business in the hands of Afia. My throat catches. What? The whole business? Oh. I mean, to head a business, I think I can do that. Even though Grandfather Marco isn't here, I still want to take care of the business he's left behind. A Donna who knows nothing of the world. This certainly will be interesting. Lady Francesca. I know. Just let me have a little fun. Now, Fia, Don Marco's will is to be enacted on Saturday. We're a large family, and it takes us a while to gather all in one place. In the meantime, we'll have you train for the challenges you'll be facing. Challenges? Well, I don't know much about business, but I'll give it my best shot. Oh, you are just too sweet. How darling. All of a sudden, the front door slams open, and Francesca and the tall man jump in front of me. In strolls a red-haired man with burning green eyes, flanked by a man and woman in suits. If the red-haired man wasn't so angry, I could see a bit of my grandfather in those eyes. This fucking music is great. Giacomo, you weren't invited. Fuck off, Andino. Now that he's dead, your days are numbered. The man struts forward, nearly shoving Francesca to the side. Who in the world is this guy? This is extremely, like... Barav Stellar, Caravan Palace. It's great. This her? This her boss? But she's so tiny. My, Tammy and Tommy, you're certainly energetic today. The man in front of Giacomo hasn't said anything. He's just staring at me. He steps forward, getting right in my face, and asks, Girl, were you the one Marco abandoned us all for? Oof. Neither of these seem like good options. Let's get killed right away. He reaches into his jacket, and Andino shoves me to the floor. The next thing I hear... There's a bullet hole right in the seat where I had been sitting. In his right hand, Giacomo is holding a gun. A gun? Lilith turns on Giacomo, shoving him to the floor. His two goons start trying to shove her off. Men swarm in front of the adjoining rooms. Giacomo is yelling at me from the floor. Francesca is holding a gun of her own, and Andino is looking at me with those cold gray eyes. Perhaps this was why Grandfather Marco had left. Oh wow, I love the kind of weird perspective. This is how the story goes. Once upon a time in New Working, there was a large family with a man named Marco at the top. This man was involved in the manufacture and sale of alcohol, at a time when both of which were strictly prohibited. He made a lot of money, along with many enemies. His business, and that of his biggest rival, quickly established territories throughout the city. Marco Verinoce was on the east side, the rival Sterzio family that on the west side. And when the family's businesses started operating too closely to one another, fights broke out. Many fights. So the Verinoces got guns, and then the Sterzio family got more guns, and then more fights broke out, and the cycle continued. And throughout it all, lots and lots of booze was being sold, and the Verinoces were quickly becoming the kings of New Working. But Marco was getting older. He looked to his two sons and thought about who should inherit the family. He thought maybe the oldest one, but changed his mind. Perhaps the younger one, but then changed his mind. And as he kept changing his mind and thinking and changing his mind, his two sons began to bicker with each other. They started with insults and then yelling, and then punching until the older son pulled out a gun and killed the younger son. Now the inheritance question would be easy, the older son thought to himself. But Marco still did not make a decision. Instead, he took to taking long, unaccompanied walks. He would leave and come back and leave again. The question of who was to inherit laid heavily in the minds of the whole family, well, except seemingly Marco, who simply stopped thinking about the question. And then, the Sterzio family killed the older son. And Marco stopped thinking about anything. I didn't know what to think. Grandfather Marco was a crime boss. The man I knew, who loved to laugh at grandmother's jokes, was the head of a large, new-working crime family. I tried to scour my memory for any clues he might have given, any sign of who he really was. But all I can remember is the tears in his eyes on Slaughter Day. Don Marco. The name didn't sound right to me. And then the people I had met? Grandfather Marco's sister, Francesca, why hadn't she inherited the family? And Andino? My grandfather's letter mentioned a right-hand man. He seems cold. And Giacomo, the firstborn son of Marco's firstborn. In another world, he would have inherited everything. But grandfather, why did he give to grandmother and I, to me? Well, I couldn't help but understand why he had tried to shoot me. I still didn't appreciate it, to say the least. A knock on the door jolts me out of my thoughts. Donna Fia, I'm coming in. All right. A timid maid scurries in and starts to make the bed I had slept in. Oh, well, did not give the maid a maid voice. They had given me this room to sleep in, the Don's old rooms. I thought maybe I could feel something of my grandfather in here, but it felt cold and impersonal. Donna? Yes? I'm not used to anyone addressing me with a title. Lady Francesca hasn't invited you to breakfast with her. She is downstairs waiting. All right. The maid then opens the door and holds her arm out. I guess that was more of an order than an invite. Well then, I guess I'll be going now. Lilith follows me down the hall. The dining room reminds me much of the same as the front room, overbearing and gaudy. There's no one here. Wasn't Francesca waiting for me? The maid had indicated a place to sit, which I take. As soon as I sit down, I immediately feel a presence behind me. I turn around to find Marco's right-hand man having materialized behind my back. Oops. Oh well, I guess I'll save it. Sometimes I accidentally double-click, and that brings up the save menu, so I guess I'll just save it whenever I accidentally do that. That seems like a good idea, because otherwise I forget completely, and I never save. Sorry to surprise you, Donna. He stands there, stoically, saying nothing more. I continue sitting at the table, fidgeting with a napkin, to keep me waiting. I thought Francesca was waiting for me. Was she not? I am unaware of Lady Francesca's whereabouts. But aren't you... I'm not sure how to word what I'm thinking. Well, her assistant, or right-hand man? You were grandfather Don Marco's right-hand man. I did not know he thought so highly of me. In his letter, he said if he couldn't make it to the meeting place, I should find you. He's a hard man to read. Then I am glad you found me. And to answer your question, no, I am not in Lady Francesca's service. I work for Don Marco and his successor. The look he's giving me, certainly he wouldn't be looking like that if he knew how foolish I had been to throw everything away to come here. I mean, what? I had bet on grandfather welcoming me into his home, caring for me and helping me. Instead, I'm almost shot in a city where everyone was a stranger. And Dino's looking at me like I was my grandfather. I'm not looking forward to falling short of his expectations. Then the door slams open, and Francesca saunters in. Why does everyone keep doing that? Oh, it's our little lady. Good morning. I take it you had a restful night. In comparison to everything that happened earlier in the day, the night was absolutely heavenly. Yes, and thank you for letting me stay the night. Nonsense. Those are your rooms now. Enjoy them. My rooms? Francesca slides into the seat next to mine and leans in closer. Yes, all this. The whole family is in your hands, little lady. How wonderful is that? She's smiling, but I can't find the energy to smile back. That is, if you're going to accept the position. Absolute silence. Some of the servers pause their movements and give me hidden looks. They're waiting to hear what I'll say, and Dino is still like a rock at my back. It's a lot to take in. Ah, but you've had all night to think about it. Half of which I was thinking about the attempt on my life. I look around the room. This was nothing like the farm, nothing like what I was used to. But the farm was shut to me now, and the last fight I had had with my mother made that abundantly clear. I didn't have anywhere else to go. And this, connection to Grandfather Marco at least. I couldn't say I felt completely at ease with my choice, but yes, I'll accept the position. One of the serving girls places an elegant plate of food in front of me. Donna, she says, and then leaves. Excellent, very excellent. My, then we must get straight to preparing you. Do you have any experience with a gun, hand-to-hand combat? I did a bit of hog wrestling back home. Hog wrestling? Well, that's something. We'll teach you to shoot. But first perhaps it's best to introduce you to our boys. Andino, why don't you accompany our little lady around the block? Show her the sights. We can get the training tomorrow. The rock at my back nods, and Francesca stands up and turns to leave. I'll see you later, Donna. And just like that, she was gone. She didn't even touch her plate of food. I tentatively dig into a large-looking piece of meat. Tasting it, it's pork. I put my fork down. Is everything all right, Donafia? Oh, it's nothing. I look at Lilith, who is sniffing something under the table. I give her a scratch on her hindquarters. Oh, she's so cute. I love our pig. This is a lot to take in. I'm sorry the Don did not warn you about this family. I turn around. His face is still emotionless. Warn? No one has even mentioned the shooting, just... Do you want to turn down the offer? I don't know. I don't have anywhere else to go. My mother made it clear if I chased after Grandfather Marco, she would never take me back. Something about how silent Andino was made it easier to talk to him. Like, no matter what I said, he wouldn't say anything back. And in a cool, calm way, it was sort of refreshing. Maybe this was why my grandfather had kept him around. Marco was nice to me. He was. Not many people knew that about him. I look at him again, a hint of a smile. But you knew. Yes, he told me many things. Did he mention... I stop. Did I want to know the answer? I thought I had known him, but these past few days, what if he just didn't care for us at all? Did I really want to know that? Ours is a world where it's dangerous to hold anything dear. He never mentioned you by name, but he was noticeably happier after his journeys. That's good to know. I pop a few of the berries on my plate into my mouth, leaving the rest untouched. I get up. There was no use moping around. I had made my choice, and I was going to follow through with it. Where to first? The corner of Central and 4th was the hub of the Vernoches domain. Andino explained that to me. Further down 4th was where the holdings turned over to that of the Starazios. He also told me to avoid that area of town at all costs. That was where Giacomo's father was killed, after all. But you are safe here. We are all loyal to Don Marco, and will be loyal to you. I wasn't so safe yesterday. The shooting? Ah. Well, Giacomo will most likely not try such a brazen attack again. Most likely? Giacomo is... Yeah, I get he doesn't like me. Probably for good reason. How many people back him? Not many. And once you are known to be the Don's heir, he will be less likely to attack you so openly. Great, I look forward to it. And in the meantime... Lilith started to sniff Andino's shoes. He keeps looking straight into my eyes without breaking contact. An absolute professional. I will be your bodyguard. Bodyguard? He nods. Lilith keeps sniffing. I appreciate it. Then let's get you acquainted with your new followers. Ooh, boxing ring, casino, bar. Nice. There are a lot of places we could go to. I say we go boxing. We make our way underground to a darkly lit space full of musk and odor. Lilith squeezes down the stairs after us, enjoying the aroma. Down here there are men standing around, beating the shit out of each other. Oh. They're also shirtless. Is everything alright, Donna? It's fine. I wring my hands. No one else is batting an eye at this. This was just something I needed to get used to. What are they doing? Enjoying themselves. He points to two men in the ring, circling each other. It's important to be able to protect yourself. It's also fun. He tosses me a pair of mitts. Me? Lady Francesca said we were to train you in combat. But we weren't starting that yet, were we? The mitts feel so awkward and unwieldy in my hands. Donna, I'm afraid we don't have the luxury of time. He leads me up the side of the ring, the two men before us stepping out. They give us an odd look. In front of me, Andino takes off his suit jacket, along with his shirt. This was too much. Lilith nibbles at my skirts. Those were most definitely, absolutely going to stay on. We step into the ring. He puts his fists up in front of his face, crouching slightly. He throws a few punches. Now you try. I do. It feels awkward. Now hit my gloves. He holds them up in front of his face. I had to hit him? Well, I suppose I would be doing worse things to other people soon enough, anyway. I throw a few punches. My fists hurt. He shakes his head a little and readjusts my stance. Again. I try again, and again mess up. This is frustrating. Why do I have to remember which fist to throw first, which foot to put forward? On the fourth try, I get fed up with the whole thing. He lowers his gloves. Donna, you must learn how to protect yourself. Stupid. This is stupid. I take a step back, and Dino takes a step forward, and then I use the only thing I know I use the only thing I know how, not reading. Then I use the only thing I know, how to wrestle hogs. I tackle Andino, shoving my head straight into his abdomen. We both hit the ground with a dull thud. There's a long minute where we both sit there on the ground in silence, and the other fighters in the room have stopped and turned around to look at us. Oh, I guess I got a little too angry. And then... I'm sorry. Well, it's good to know you know how to wrestle, but we still need you to be able to throw a punch. Lilith is at the base of the ring, squealing in distress. Oh, she looks so upset. I'm alright, Lilith. No need to worry. We should leave before she thinks I'm truly harming you. We make our way back above ground. Yay, we're friends. Casino bar. I am almost dreading running into the little gremlin again. Alcohol was prohibited, but even in my hometown, if you looked close enough, it was fairly easy to find. I really like the way that barrel looks. Like, there is something about that texturing that is really interesting. Here in New Working City, it was apparently so easy to find that there are entire establishments built around the concept of serving the contraband. Such was the bread and butter of the Verinoce's fortune, one I would have to grow into owning. And another song plays. This is our local bar. Feel free to order anything you would like. He leads me to a table so I can sit and look at the premises. It's not crowded, but it wasn't dead either. If I want the boys to know me, this is probably the best place for that. If I want to order something, I do it at the counter, correct? Let me. He follows me up to the counter where he places my order. I stand to the side and I look around, feeling slightly useless. Could have ordered my own drink, couldn't I? Here. At least he got the drink I wanted anyway. I lead to the table nearest, with two women in heated conversation. They stop and look at Andino. Hey, it's the Don's lackey. What are you doing out here all by yourself? I'm escorting Donna Fia around her new bar. He steps to the side of me. The two women look questioningly at me, then back at Andino. They muffle a short, Donna Fia, and then continue their conversation in more muted tones. Can't help feeling like I'm missing out on something. I have an idea. It's somewhat brash, but I think it might be worth a shot. And, you know, is this room secure? Of course, Donna. I have a feeling she's about to do something stupid, so I'm gonna save. Guess I'll save there, since we haven't made any real decisions. And no suspicious persons? No, Donna. The level of threat is low? Yes, this is one of the strongest holds of the Verinoches. Good. I down the last of my drink, anything to get a boost of needed confidence, and I hand him the glass. Return this to the barkeep. Very well, Donna. He returns to return, and I take the opportunity to slide up to the next table. This one has a man and woman talking, also seriously. Good day to you. Oh, well, hello to you there too, missy. You idiot, that's the new Donna. What? Forgive me, Donna, It's alright, I just wanted to meet everyone. And actually, I point to where Andino is trying to keep the barkeep's attention. He seems to keep putting everyone on edge. I wanted to see what was going on. There's a bit of a depressive air here. Well... Men and women look uneasily at each other. If you really want to know... You idiot, you can't just tell the Donna. I'm gonna say it. We know that Don had chosen you, but, well... We just don't know why. No one had ever heard of you, and as everybody was thinking that old Stefan was gonna take over the family. Stefan, the oldest son of, just really wanted to do that voice more, I guess. Stefan, the oldest son of Marco, Giacomo's father. But the Don never chose him, you know, and then all that happened, and, well, it puts us all on edge. I see. And, well, there's Giacomo and then you, Donna. We followed Don Marco's wishes, of course, but there was a time I didn't even know you existed. And there was people there looking at Giacomo like he was going to be a stand-in for Stefan, even though the old Don didn't choose him. We still need a leader, and it was messy, and oh, real messy. I didn't know all that. Certainly a lot to think about. And, well, Donna, the more boys getting hit by the Starzio these past few weeks. It's starting to feel pretty bad out here. There you are, Donna. The woman and man turn bright smiles and sit up straight. Whatever chance I had at getting to know them better just dried up. I smile back. Yes, and I was just hearing about how things are going with the family. We're all excited for the ceremony. It's been so long since we had a Donna. The Verinoches are coming back. Indeed they are. He nods back toward our table. People seemed always so uptight with him around. I agreed and we headed back. And the option with no option. A casino. I've never been to one before now. A whole building dedicated to... Go out. Go away. Out of here. Oops. I had a pop-up. Not a pop-up, but my computer telling me dumb shit. And I couldn't read it. And you could even win money. A lot of money, according to Andino. New Working was such a strange, fascinating place. Yeah, this is so very Caravan Palace. Cigarette smoke fills the air as Andino and I walk through, chatting with the patrons and their card games. We decided to leave Lilith outside, not quite sure if she would disrupt their other players. Despite Andino's assurances that the family would have my back, my presence has only elicited glares. I guess they just weren't expecting from the Don's heir. We sit down at a table, and the dealer deals us in. We play a few rounds. I'm apparently awful at the game. I can't help but notice the faces of the other players as they leave our table. They're disappointed. I frown. I'm disappointed in myself. All of a sudden, there's a commotion in front of the casino. I even hear some squealing. Oh no, Lilith! I rush over there, forgetting all about the game I had been playing. Excuse me, excuse me? I have to shove my way to the front. Donna! His voice is lost in the commotion. I get to the front and see a few men goading Lilith with a stick. Hey, you stop! I grab the stick from their hands, and the two men whirl around on me. What, you know this hot girl? What are you doing on our turf, anyway? I tighten my grip on the stick. That's my hog, and I'm the girl that Don left everything to. The whole casino screeches to a halt. Every single one of them is looking at me. Well, I needed to introduce myself, didn't I? Andino finally makes it through the crowd and stands by my side. I can hear a few gasps of recognition. Well, I guess we did it. Andino nudges my elbow, moving me back inside the casino. No one else is going to mess with Lilith now. I take a few breaths and sit down on one of the tables. On one of the tables? It's crowded, and Andino can't get a seat. He stands behind my chair. The dealer deals me in, and I play a few rounds. I'm still bad, but I'm getting a little better. After the game, one of the players on the far end of the table leaves, and sliding into his spot is... The tiny gremlin. Giacomo. I tense up. He doesn't look at me, but picks up the 2 cards dealt him. I look back at Andino, who just shakes his head. It's too crowded. He won't make a move. Giacomo raises, and I fold out of the record. He finally looks up at me. Folding so early, suddenly your hand wasn't that bad. I look at Andino, but his face is a stone. No help there. What, trying to get you a good bodyguard to talk for you? This is no fun. He folds. The pot goes to the player to my immediate right. Adana hiding behind the goons. He won't last long like that. I'm not hiding. Oh, she speaks. That smug look of his was starting to get to me. Just because I didn't answer you doesn't mean I was hiding. The dealer gives us our cards. My hand is okay. I stay in. Giacomo raises, then looks straight at me. Andino moves closer to the back of my chair. He was challenging me. In front of all these people. I raise as well. Good, this'll make it fun then. He raises. I raise, others fold. The pot is growing, and all of a sudden I understand how people could make money off this card game. And why they keep going back. This is fun. I said it almost to myself, but Giacomo looks up at me. The smirk from earlier is gone. He almost looks serious. Andino moves to my left, putting himself between me and Giacomo. It's Giacomo's turn, and he hasn't made a move. He could raise even more, but that would put him all in or pull out. He puts his card down, looks at me, and sighs. It was a delicate moment that was broken when his 2 shadows show up and clap him on the back, dead drunk. Hey, boss! Let go of him, Tommy. Let me see, boss. You got a beater, huh? Yeah, trying. He was smirking again, but I wasn't sure what was back there, but it must have been a fluke. Donna Fia. Andino turns to me, motioning me to put my cards down. Fold now? She's not Donna yet, Andino. All in. He shoves the rest of his chips into the pot, staring at me, daring me. Tammy is leaning on his back, in her hand, a card. She was slipping him a card. A cheat and a murderer? This is going too far. Donna. I wasn't going to let this go. There was no way. After Lilith being shot at, and I was feeling the heat. All in. The crowd around us gasps. The dealer is sweating. I don't break eye contact with Giacomo. Show your cards. We flip. My 2 of jacks. Giacomo's 2 tens. I win. The crowd erupts. Tammy and Tommy start shrieking about there being a mistake. Giacomo sits still, looking straight at me. There's no smirk, just a slow, burning rage. I get up and motion to Andino. Let's go. Return. Oh, I'm gonna miss that music. The sun was setting. We had best get back. The city changes after dark. Oh. We head to the mansion, but Andino stops before opening the door. Donna, I feel as if I should warn you. He looks around once, then glances back at me. He drops his voice to a whisper. It is in your best interest not to trust anyone here. Even you? He looks back, saying nothing. His shoulders point downward, but I can't tell what it means. Let us return. He opens the door, holding it open. I look at him and then into the door. This was a whole new world, new working. I had to be on my toes. That night, I explore Grandfather Marco's rooms further. Everything is of an exquisite quality, again making me wonder how anyone could leave it all behind. I run my hands over the bed sheets, fingers dancing across I run my hands over the bed sheets, fingers dancing over the silk threads. I was too shocked yesterday to fully appreciate the details. I sit down on the bed, mindlessly looking out the window. Lilith is currently digging at something at the head of the bed. Stop that, Lilith, you'll splinter the wood. I go over to her and push her off, but notice that she had been trying to grab a bit of twine sticking out from behind the headboard in the wall. I reach in and retrieve the twine. Retrieve the twine! Out comes a key, dangling from the twine around my finger. Huh, I wonder how long that's been there. She huffs and goes off to sniff elsewhere around the room. I slip the key back into my pocket, but my eye can't help but wander to an old oak desk up against the opposing wall. There is a small drawer underneath, a keyhole visible. I walk over and pull. It's locked. Well, let's try this. I slide the key into the hole in turn. It opens with a click. Pulling open the desk drawer, I immediately see numerous papers and envelopes. And in the back, a small wrapped item tied with string. I tentatively pick it up and open it. In my hands is a bright red bracelet that gleams from where the light hits it. It's gorgeous. I turn it around in my hands. A small tag on one side. It says, "To my flower, Flora, Marco." A bracelet from my grandmother, but what was it doing in this desk? I look down and see an unopened envelope underneath. I open it and find my answer. He had sent the gift to her in the mail, but she had returned it. She had written that she preferred his company to that of gaudy gifts. Underneath that letter are more, between Marco and Flora, my grandparents. It was obvious they were in love, the way they addressed each other, the number of letters, the fact that he had kept the letters. If only my mother could have seen this. Would she have still been mad that she was a traitor, a harlot? But how could she be if she was this happy? My grandmother had smiled more those past few years than in the entirety of her previous life. I just wish my mother could see that. I found an empty sheet of paper at the bottom of the drawer, a quill laid unused on the desk. I picked it up and began to write to my mother. She said that she would never forgive me, but I just wanted her to see, to understand. I'm gonna save again, because I have a feeling. Eventually we're gonna do something stupid, I just know it. And when the choice comes, I'm going to be prepared to backtrack. That life didn't need to end there. We didn't need to work ourselves on the farm until we couldn't breathe. There could be a bit of happiness for us all. Happiness, selling illegal booze, and probably getting shot. I wrote this all out, and then some. I didn't even notice when I eventually fell asleep. Knock knock. Donafia? I jolt awake at the desk, a quill in my right hand and a pot of ink spilled over my left. Yes? I sit up further and a maid excuses herself as she enters the room. She takes a startled look at me and then at the unmade bed. She quickly runs to the window and looks outside. Is everything all right? Donna, did you sleep at the desk last night? Oh, I must have. I try to rub the sleep from my eyes. She calmly walks over to the dresser and pulls out a new dress. She helps me into it, but I can't shake the image of her rushing to the window. What happened? Nothing, Donna. I turn to face her. Something wasn't right. Where's Andino? Outside, Donna. I rush over to the door and fling it open. Francesca was rubbing off on me. Andino! Donna. He looked as clean and professional as the day before, but if there was a sign of something amiss, he wouldn't be the one to show it. Did something happen? There were reports of noises outside the courtyard last night, but no further information is known. I look at the maid. You said nothing was wrong. I didn't want to worry you, Donna. She's fidgeting. Lilith has picked up the tension in the room and begins to sniff the girl's skirts. You lied to me. I'm very sorry, Donna. Lilith let out a puff of air that ruffles the girl's skirts. She could be intimidating up close. This is not to happen again. Do you understand? Yes, Donna. She bows slightly, keeping her eyes down. I look to Andino and motion towards the stairs. The three of us head downstairs. You learn quickly, Donna. You told me not to trust anyone. I did. It was hard, feeling like I couldn't trust anyone. It was a foreign feeling. Andino, at least. I wanted to know if I could trust him. I have a job for you. Anything. He's even smiling a bit. I reach into my skirt pockets and pull out the letter I had spent all night writing. Unfortunately, it's horribly ink-stained because I fell asleep on the desk. Mail this to my mother. Your mother? Yes, she deserves to know I'm still alive, even if she doesn't want to hear from me. I'm holding out the letter, but he hasn't taken it yet. I wave it in his face a few times. Well, you're my grandfather's right-hand man, right? Will you do the same for me? He takes the envelope, slipping it into his own jacket. you can still go home. Home? To the pastures full of hog manure, where the only things waiting for me at day's end were the cold, hard stares of my mother and a sky full of static. I'd rather die here than go back. At least here it's exhilarating. Maybe you do have a bit of a monster in you. Very well, Donna. I will mail your letter. From the next room, I can hear... Fia! Donna Fia! And in walks Lady Francesca. If there had been a door, I'm sure she would have slammed it open. Good morning. I had you up late last night. She had? You could sleep in if you needed your beauty sleep. I understand. We need to train before. We? Oh, and you know, you didn't forget your little job, did you? Job? I look at him, but he doesn't turn to look at me. He's just staring at Lady Francesca. Ah. Like I said, she can sleep in. There's no real rush to these things. The rest of the family won't be here for 3 more days. Or, if she has a hot set on it, she could train herself. You introduced yourself to the boys yesterday, after all. It's safe? Was it? I look to Andino, but he isn't looking at me. Well, as a Donna, I guess I had to make my own decisions. Okay, so now they're giving me choices. So now I'll save it. Because I do not trust my own intuition. Because I am a bit of an idiot. Stay in, go out. I mean, I do kind of want to go out. Go have fun. But also, maybe we can snoop around this big-ass house. Because I think snooping around a big-ass house would be fun. Like, there's no rule that says we have to stay in our room. We can do whatever we want. Let's stay in. I am a little tired. Excellent. Like I said, we all need a beauty rest. Andino nods at me, but doesn't say anything. Stop. God damn it. I excuse myself and go back up to my room. I should have known that it would literally just be in the room, not actually doing shit. Then again, if there was something happening, and now there could be something bad in the house, and so now we're just fucked. The maid is gone. Not having to change her sheets made her job easy, I guess. I climb under the covers and cuddle up to the nearest pillow. Lilith jumps up on the bed and snuggles right behind me. Now for some quick shut-eye. I try to fall asleep, but my legs are really itchy for some reason. Oh no. What? I cough. What was going on? My face starts to itch. Andino, Francesca! But my words come out garbled around my swollen tongue. I'm having problems breathing. I cough for more air and get none. I fall back to the floor and convulse. I never get my beauty sleep. Bad end? Oh, I knew that was a bad idea. That's fantastic. Go out. I really should have known that they were going to literally have it, you try to go to bed and then you die, instead of, you know what, just stay in the house and snoop. I should make the best use of my time. Even if alone. But Lilith would be with me, a small comfort. Such a hard worker. Mako would be proud of you. I head outside, waving to them. Francesca smiles and waves, and Dino does not. So where should we go, Lilith? Boxing, casino, bar. Oh shit, I should have been able to save before this, huh? I want to go boxing again, but I'm just so terrified of that little gremlin showing up. Going back underground, Lilith and I find ourselves in the boxing gym again. There are a handful of men standing around, still punching the shit out of each other. I notice that their stances are really good. I should be able to hit like that, Lilith. Oink. Then let's get to training. That, and, you know, if we get really good at doing the face smacks, we can defend ourselves good, and it'll be great when we get attacked again, because we will headbutt someone. We will headbutt people much larger than ourselves, and it will work out very well. I throw on some of the good job. I throw on some of the leather gloves Andino had showed me the other day and step up to a punching bag. I punch, and I punch, and I punch some more. I lose track of the time. Fully soaking from... Wow. Reading is my strong point. I'm very good at it. I lose track of time, focusing solely on the enemy in front of me and the goal I wanted to attain. I hit to the side of the bag, missing the trajectory of my punch, flinging me forward. I hit the ground, landing straight on my gloved hand. My knee is banged up, but the gloves had protected me from the impact of the floor. Interesting. It would be nice to have this leather not just on my hands, but all over my body, for protection. Oink. I pick myself up, thinking it's best time for a break. I take the gloves off and look around the room. Everyone had left except for a lone figure on the far side of the room. I hadn't been paying much attention to any of the other fighters, but something about this man had caught my eye. There were scars all over his back, and every fist he threw felt like it could knock a building down. Wow. I get closer, and the man turns to face me. We're gonna save, because I feel like this could be another bad ending. It's Andino. Donna, you were here the whole time? Yeah, I was, training. Did you finish your job? Yes, the letter has been sent. I meant Francesca's job. Ah. He looks away for a moment. Yes, it's been completed. I see. I raise both of my fists to my face, bending my knees. I thought I was the Donna, but you're following her orders too? I make a late jab, but keep a smile on my face. I follow you. Alright, then fight me. Donna, I don't want to give you a black eye before the ceremony. Oh, it was on now. We're gonna headbutt him again. That is going to be our signature move, and everyone will fear us. That's assuming you can hit me. I aim for his side, but he easily blocks me. He still hasn't dropped into any stance, though. Or maybe you're afraid you'll be beaten by a pig wrestler. I circle around to his side, and he finally puts up his fists. We really ought to teach you more moves than just tackling your opponent. It worked last time. He surges forward, catching me off guard, and hooks his left leg behind my knee, knocking me to the floor. Hey, no fair. I get back up and throw an uppercut. He dodges, circling around to my back. He kicks the backs of my knees, and I fall again. Ah, this isn't at all what you taught me yesterday. We're covering new material. I appreciate it, but I'm starting to get annoyed at having to get back up. He starts to move around to my back again. I have a split second, and I... Oh no. Tackle him side. We're gonna sidestep, because always tackling is gonna be a bad idea. I step to the side, avoiding his legs. I whirl back around and step out of his range. He's smiling at me. Very good. I put my fist back up to my face and wait for him to make another move. I'm gonna keep saving, because I feel like this could just continually end horribly. We get to make a lot of decisions, and I'm sure most of them will be terrible. I put my fist back up to my face and wait for him to make another move. He'd been using the same move multiple times in a row. I was starting to see a rhythm to his movements. Again, he moves to my left, positioning his leg near my left knee. I stick my leg out and hook around the back of his leg, forcing us both down. Nailed it! If you use the same move more than once, people will be able to see through it, right? I love the look on her face! She looks like a little gremlin. I love her hair too, it's so cute. Donna, you would typically knock them down from the back, otherwise you run the risk of falling down yourself. Well, I'm learning. Good job otherwise. A rush of pride fills me. I was getting better at this, and Dino was smiling at me, and I couldn't deny it. It was a pretty nice view. Oink. Oh, she looks so upset. Piggy is unhappy. Ah, Lilith! The mood, if there really was one at all, was gone, and I quickly got up off Andino. Way to go, Lilith. Oh, that probably wasn't supposed to be said like that. Oh well. We're gonna say it like that now. She's our chaperone. She goes back to sniffing. I'm an idiot and I don't know how to read. She goes back to sniffing my boots. I wonder if I had done something wrong in raising her, since she was so fixated on smelling things. Don't be weird about feet. What time is it? We should probably get back. It had already been late when I had first noticed Andino. Who knows if the sun had already set? Please return without me. You're not coming back? I will. I just need the train some more. There's no hint of the smile from earlier. You have Lilith, who is shown to be a powerful protector. She huffs at the mention of her name. I wasn't worried about protection, I was... He looks at me with a confused look. Maybe I was just missing his company. It was something reassuring in a world out to get me, that was for sure. Alright, I'll be back. I'll head back. What? Be careful yourself. There's no need to worry about me, Donna. Lilith and I leave him to his training. I am going to keep saving, because I just foresee bad things happening eventually. I love all of the music in this. It's so catchy. I make it back to the mansion right before the sun is fully set. I would eventually have to learn what new working was like after dark, but I didn't think today was a good day for that. There's a group of men standing right outside the door. I didn't like it. I paused in my tracks. The sun was still setting. I didn't want to be caught out at night. I go through the front door, try to find a side entrance. Okay, well, we did just save, so I'm worried about us getting lost if we try to go around. Go through the front. I'm not even sure if there is a side entrance. Maybe if I just approach them really quickly, they won't try to talk to me. Look, you just gotta keep your head high and straight ahead and walk like you've just commit a murder. I move closer to them, keeping my head down. I just said keep your head high! Dude, come on, girl. I hear one of them say, Miss, are you the new Donna? Against my better judgment, I look up, because I don't have a chance to respond, because I knew this was gonna happen. Okay, well. Okay. Yep. Find a side. Instead, I go around to the side of the mansion, looking for another way in. I can hear a bit of a commotion from the men I had left in front of the house, seemingly confirming my suspicions. I duck around the corner, seeing a door that looks like it opens into the mansion. Turns out it was a brothel. I take it and slam the door open. The kitchen staff stop dead in their tracks and all turn to look at me. I guess they weren't anticipating their Donna showing up out of the blue. How did he get here before us? Does he have a clone? Donna, what are you doing? Surprisingly, Andino is there among the kitchen staff. How the hell did he get to the boxing gym from here before me? I can ask you the same question. He seems nervous. There was a group of men out front I didn't trust. As if to accentuate my point, I closed the door behind me, stepping fully into the kitchens. Call it a hunch. I see. I'll have someone look into it. I guess we should probably save again, because we've dodged a bullet in a literal and figurative sense. The kitchen staff keep glancing between Andino and I. The cook, in particular, has been staring at me ever since I walked in. In the future, he looks down and doesn't elaborate for a few moments. Then, it is good to go with your instincts. Good to know. The kitchen staff go back to their duties, and Andino attaches himself to my side. Lilith has started getting into a sack of potatoes. None of the staff attempt to chase her off. Andino and I move towards the main part of the house, attempting to shake off the recent series of events. I had to be more careful from now on. I probably should stop eventually, but I just want to keep going. I don't want to stop. I like this too much. That night, before bed, I looked through my grandfather's letters again. Or, that is, what was left of the letters. They had been moved around, and the vibrant bracelet I had found the day before, it's gone. Why didn't you lock the drawer, you dumb bitch? Vanished without a trace. Someone had gone through my rooms. I thought back to the maid this morning and her strange actions. I felt sick. Was that all she had done? I moved to the window and look outside, but I can't see anything. I can see she had laid out my clothing for the next day, but I tossed them into the bin. And the bed. I ripped the sheets and blankets off. I threw the pillows off. I didn't trust anything she had touched. Okay, that's probably good. Probably very good. Lilith looks at me oddly. I was making a mess of the room for seemingly no reason. Lilith, can you sniff this? I hand her one of the bed sheets, which she begins to sniff in that Lilith way of hers. She immediately snorts out and lets out a soft squeal. She didn't like it. Well, that settles that. I toss it in the bin as well. Grandfather Marco's rooms were so nice. It was a shame I had to sleep on the floor, but it was safe that way. Or was it? Drifting off to sleep, I swear to myself that I'm going to make it through this, no matter what. Okay, okay. 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 I have to stop. I am... I don't want to stop, but I should, because it's getting late. And I have to be awake at some point tomorrow. Because I got stuff going on. But this was a lot of fun, and I definitely am absolutely going to play it again, because this was great. I really liked this game. This is fantastic. So I hope that all of you have a wonderful night.